Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the third round of Swiss here for the NACL qualifiers. This is going to be the third round. We're on the second day here, the 21st of January, and we'll be looking at the first matches going into today. Both of these teams are going to be 2-0 teams. It's going to be Winthrop versus ReluminateGG. And it's just going to be me on the broadcast. We have a lot of people running the Rift right now, so appreciate you, everybody, as well as all of the fans out there who are making sure to watch the VODs and catching up on all of the games here in the qualifiers. Coming into this game, like I said before, both of these are 2-0 teams, so looking to make it into that 3-0 berth and immediately make it into the Challengers League qualifiers group stage. And already we've got some really funny stuff. First of all, Crucial Shimmer, this is a team on Reluminate's side where they are the 18th seed. They're not expected to make it into the tournament, but have already taken games over the 15th seed as well as the 4th seed now in Old Miss yesterday, as well as ISU in their first round. So this Reluminate team is making some pretty big waves, as you can see in the draft right now. I think some pretty important champions taken away. Senna, one of the most flexible AD carries. Ash as well being gone on red side. I think it is kind of telling as we see all of our higher seeds immediately adapt towards grabbing blue side here, and there are just so many champions that you have to get rid of, and Winthrop have just been completely dominant. They're our first seed for a reason. They've been winning a ton of the collegiate lands, as well as last year at the end of the year making that final push and being able to qualify for promotion. Fortunately, didn't make it, but where they were one of our favorited teams to make it throughout that tournament, and unfortunately fell a little short. So coming into this game, we'll be seeing what exactly they go for immediately with the Lucian first pick. I think really, really strong. Obviously, you have the pairings with either Milio or the Nami. We've seen it with some mixed success here in the West, thank you to Europe. But otherwise, I think a pretty strong pick for making sure that they have priority through the bot lane. And I was interested to see what Reluminate were going to do, just because they have been playing so many different enchanters and not just in the bottom lane. Crucial in their game versus Old Miss was actually playing Karma top lane, and that led to Shimmer going 16-0 on Viego. Not to say that Old Miss definitely made some mistakes, but Reluminate were strong enough to capitalize, as well as they knew how to snowball that lead afterwards, which was really, really impressive for a team that myself and a few others definitely rated, I think, a lot lower than they should have. So Winthrop immediately snapping up the Milio and the Jax. I think perfectly fine answers. Again, stuff that's going to help with counter engage as well. I think Milio is very strong there. But what I am looking for is what kind of matchup we're going to get up in top lane, and as to where this Karma is going to go. Corki picked up with Azir banned. I think that Corki becomes really, really strong. There's not many mages that are going to be able to match him in terms of range. And so I'm interested to see what we're going to get from Sword, who typically has been tending towards those control mages. So things like the Orianna, maybe if he pulls out his Cassiopeia, you're just going to get outranged in this instance. And so I am a little worried for what Winthrop and their pool tends to be. And Reluminate definitely keeping their options open here. Zinzao just one of the strongest junglers on the patch, thanks to Titanic, as well as some other changes for items and just the jungle in general. Getting rid of the Yasuo, pretty interesting here, just because you already do see that there is the Karma, and you see the Corki already, so maybe they're expecting this Karma to still go bottom lane, and they were going to try to pair it from on the side of Reluminate's draft, in terms of maybe we play with the Karma lane to really give him that speed up. But I think getting rid of it for Fools is also something that they could have tried. Getting rid of Ari and LeBlanc are two champions that we saw a lot of from Sword in the mid lane out of Winthrop. These are two champions that obviously were very strong last year, but in general were some of his most played, especially his Ari, even in spots where I think on the broadcast we had really said, hey, I don't think this is an Ari game, but he still was able to put up and be a contributing member to his team. And so As we go into the second phase of draft, we are looking towards the solo lanes here, and specifically for Reluminate to really decide where this Karma is going. And I love that we're seeing the Varus here. The fact that Varus made it all the way to 4-5 is really, really strange to me. This champion has been so dominant throughout the entire year, has had really, really strong item paths, can go different builds. I think in this game, if this Zoe is locked in for Winthrop, then we're going to be potentially seeing more of a poke style Varus, just because on hit, yes, it is strong. I think the itemization is there for it. However, you look at this team and you can just outrange them. You never want to get into, I think you never really want to be in hit range of a Zoe. You always want to try to outrange her. That's typically where she is weakest. And so Winthrop, I think, with a lot of damage on their composition, but maybe not a ton of, engage. They're really going to have to be towing the line and playing very, very much over that line and maybe disrespecting their opponents. And so what I want to see from Winthrop is obviously some very strong laning. This is a team that kept all 5 of its members from last year. This is a team that we should expect to have a heightened level of synergy and know how each and every piece kind of plays the game. And it's going to require that from them, as we're actually seeing the Jax move into the jungle, and an adaptation that was kind of seen at the beginning of the patch and has had some mixed success across pro play in general. But for Reluminate now, we're kind of finally seeing the final bits of it. We're seeing Crucial finally on his Gangplank, his most played, the thing that everybody kind of knows him for on Twitter. And now you have a Karma Varus lane up against Lucian Melio. It should be very hard for them to fight for priority. A lot of it is going to be based on who is landing abilities. And hey, if you miss a skill shot, suddenly I think that's a window for either of these 2 bot lanes to walk up and start finding advantages. So for Reluminate, they have really strong area control. The Karma with her poke as well really helps with that. Sinzao can always walk forward, and if he needs to, he has the ultimate to be able to walk out of any kind of danger. And Corki Varus, Gangplank, even with his barrels and his ultimate, makes it very difficult for Winthrop at any moment to kind of walk into Fog of War. So they're going to need Cassante at all times, and they're also going to have to be from a winning position. Everyone kind of thinks, okay, well, if you're even, you should be fine. Well, they need to be first to the play. They always need to have first setup so that they can stop something like a Gangplank or a Corki from really getting set up and being able to just hold defensive lines by throwing out missiles, throwing out barrels. And as long as Reluminate are on the ball, I think that they did have some mistakes, some holes in their gameplay. Specifically, Crucial did have some trouble laning yesterday up against Stray in their Old Miss matchup, and had Shimmer had to bail him out on a few lane states. If that doesn't happen, that game could be a little bit different. And so I do want to see what Reluminate are going to feel like coming into a second day. It's your first game of the day, but you have to play 3 games sort of back to back. It is Swiss, so there is some time in between games. And really, you got to make sure that at least there's 1 win. At the very minimum for these 2 teams, 2-0, you just need 1. But obviously, the higher you place, the better your seeding is, and potentially the better chances you have of making it out of groups. And so for a team like Reluminate, who unfortunately from the committee perspective was not slated to make it in, this is a matchup that is going to be their hardest, period. Because yesterday it was the 15th seed. Yesterday in their first game it was the 15th seed. It was ISU. Their second round they go up against the 4th seed. And I said this on the broadcast because I was casting this with Yanni yesterday, was if they make it to 2-0 before they won, I was saying if they win this game, they're more than likely going to be the lowest seed making it into 2-0, which means that they're probably going to face Winthrop. And at that point, if you can beat Winthrop, then I think you're on a very strong path to potentially 5-0ing the day, because Winthrop should be our expected favorites to make it to 5-0. If not them, then it's Team Fish Taco. You're never expecting someone outside of the top 4 to make it in. So this should be a really surprising matchup. I think it could tell us one of 2 things. Either Winthrop really are those guys and they deserve to be at that number 1 spot that all of us really put them, and we have a surging 18 seed that I think have a lot to gain and not too much to lose. Obviously, if they lose this match, they'll continue on, they'll play out the rest of their Swiss similar to Winthrop in the situation, but Winthrop have a lot to lose in this instance if they were to, and Winthrop have been showing pretty dominant games so far throughout the season in their 2 games that they played yesterday. Just looking at some of this. So Yeah, we have some spectator delay, so, you know, we're having some fun here, but perfect, actually. You know what I can do? We're going to have a little bit of fun here. So we have the champs all in. I just want to take a deep dive on some stats for some of these players, just because we do have time. We're 3 minutes in between, and might as well as look as to some of the really cool stuff that is available. Stats all time. Just want to check on his Zoe stats, just because I feel like I have seen a little bit of Zoe from Sword, but it hasn't been super popular. Wow. He's played 0 Zoe games on stage. Now, this might not be super accurate, as I know fandom doesn't keep a super clean track of all of the stats that are available to us, just as a kind of outlier of how many different tournaments that are going on. And also they are, ever since they laid off a bit of staff, it has been a bit tough. Mobility for Lucian, definitely something statistically wise, he should be really, really high up there. Oh, wow. He's 15-10 on the champion and 33% win rate. Hello? When did he last play these? Okay, ACL fall. He kept losing. ACL fall, they win a game. Hey, yo. Hey. Mobility. We're going to have to start putting up numbers, brother man. All right, let's take a look at Denethor here. I mean, his most played is Cassante. He's 15-5, 75% win rate. It's kind of like giving him his Camille. At that point, you're just kind of low key win trading. But it's his most played champion. I remember this kind of being a champion when he first popped up. We kind of got him maybe a little less so during the Tempest days, if I'm correct. Yeah, the champion wasn't even released, lol. But like the Tempest days, he was chilling. But all of 2023, this was just a champion we saw every single time. Cassante, the champion was broken, to be fair, but also people were just giving him this champion. It was not okay. I want to see how many games of Jax our boy Trickster has. I can't imagine it's very many. There are very few players before this patch that were going to try out Jax Jungle before. I think Jax Jungle was kind of viable, but had some really, really weird item spikings, and you had to really play for jungle, which unfortunately wasn't the meta for most of the year. So, all right, we are in game now. So, casters can start the game. There we go. And we're in. So again, let's reiterate some of the points that we made during the draft and that we were waiting on. For Winthrop, this is a game that they're going to have to be very dominant in. They have really strong lanes in the bottom lane to try to push. You have Cassante, who, depending on how this matchup can go, if Denethor plays his cards right, can put Crusoe in a very dangerous position. I think Crusoe needs to be paying attention during the first couple of waves just to make sure that you're putting down appropriate damage, but also that Q3 is going to cost you a flash if you're in a pretty awkward situation. But Crusoe should be able to win this as the game goes later. And in mid lane, I expect Sword to kind of just keep it normal. I don't expect a lot from these two. Early on, Corki and Zoe don't have a ton of damage. Especially for Corki, it'll be really hard to really activate his jungle. And for First Strike Corki as well, going against a Zoe should be pretty interesting. We'll see what Sword can do. Whereas for Reluminate, they are a team that does have some scaling aspects. We could say the same for Winthrop, but we're going to move on to Reluminate. They have a strong presence in the bottom lane, so we're going to see a lot of jungle pathing towards this. We already see both junglers actually starting on that red side. And so a couple of options there. Could obviously try to go top lane and destabilize the Gangplank matchup, but all things hold bar, I think they should be looking to relieve or fix the bottom lane waves, as these two are going to be looking to fight constantly, especially with a Lucian Melio. And anytime you can cover, that just means that you're probably getting really good relief damage onto the opponent, or at the very least stopping them from pushing your lane in at all times. And playing around package timings, I'm really interested to see what Corki looks like when Not only does he have items like Malignance, but also just being able to have that package available for Void Grubs. Is that something that kind of incentivizes you to continue playing for Void Grubs? I don't have the highest opinion. If you were watching the old Mist game versus Reluminate, you'll have heard my thoughts a little bit more in depth, but I just think that this is a win more objective, and if you can't hit turrets, it really doesn't do all that much. It's only when you get more than 3 that it becomes slightly problematic, and we do have some champions that are going to be off in the side lane hopefully this game, and maybe we can see a little bit of that action really start to put in a lot of damage. So far, again, jungle's just full clearing down to this bottom side. Jax is not really a champion that kind of wants to get a lot early done, but against immobile laners like the Karma and this Varus, definitely a lot easier to try to gank, and does have some really strong 1v1 and 2v2 potential, as this champion is just naturally very broken. And has very strong optimization, like we were saying. Sundered Skies, you can go for Trinity Force. The Blade of the Ruin King is still very strong, so interested to see what Trickster is going to be going for here. And eyes on Shimmer. We talked about this yesterday, like I was saying, during that old Mist game, but this Crucial Shimmer core that was on Conviction last year definitely turned some heads. They made top 16 last time around, and Shimmer, at least yesterday, was putting on clinics through the jungle. So I'm interested to see what he's doing yet again, if there's any innovations, or if he's just kind of showing off. Okay. Trickster moving on forward. Sword does have the Sleepy Trouble Ball when it lands. There's the flash. Trickster just unable to do all that much. I mean, Chookies has first move. Sword has first move. And in this instance, it's a first blood going over to Sword. So getting a little bit of extra gold in his back pocket. It's more camps here for the side of Trickster. Now, it was if I'm pretty sure, wait, okay, it seems like they actually ended up getting this, and they're going to get the crash off as well, so trying to trade. Xth and Kafu recognize the only way out is through. They need to be able to fight through this. This is a massive wave they're going to be missing, and a lot of gold now is going to be in the back pocket of Winthrop. The bottom lane is going off with no hitches. Denethor potentially even finding a Q3, but Shimmer, like we said yesterday, was able to come here, bail out Crucial in some pretty dangerous situations. Denethor, healing pots are used. Has the flash available. Q3 also up, but then Denethor just makes a few too many mistakes. Can Shimmer find Q3 here? Last one. Oh my god, Denethor. Oh my god. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. Get me out of here. Okay, guys, we can go ahead and FF this game. There's no way. All right, guys, Shimmer and Crucial, you know, I get it. He used the flash. He's gonna have to use the teleport either way. But damn, does that suck. Winthrop, I don't know if that was just like a full tilt play, or there's no way it's a full tilt, because we're only 5 minutes in. But Shimmer died bottom lane. Remember, this all started around the bottom side scuttle. Has to give it up, ends up getting engaged upon, support mid collapse on through. They not only then get Shimmer's flash, they get first blood. He walks all the way top lane to try to fix his top laner's wave, and they can't even do this. And oh my god, it might even be another kill. Crucial doesn't have flash. This is one of the things we were talking about while we were waiting for this game to start up, is the fact that GP without flash is just going to get bodied. And in the bottom lane, Xth walks up too far. Kafu wasn't able to get too much of a reset and is already back to 100 HP. And it's another kill here for Winthrop. 7-0 at 6 minutes. I think only to be expected from our first seed coming into this matchup. They're a team that has been feared. There's been a lot of discussion about Winthrop, and I think if I look at all of our rankings, all of the kind of the rankings from the committee, we all have them first. I think there might be a few seconds. I don't remember it. Again, if you want to check out that ballot, is at Rally Cry Official. You can get all your information for the qualifiers over there, but damn. What a explosive start for them, and what a terrible beginning here for the side of Reluminate. This is a very dangerous start. I mean, 1,000 gold up in top lane, 1,000 gold up in mid lane, couple like almost 1,000 up in mid, bot lane the same thing. They're just really dominating, and now they're just trying to go for the dive. Good job from Reluminate, not really out of the game quite yet, but no, hey, our solo lanes have the experience. Let's use the level 6. Let's try to get an ultimate. But Shimmer has no flash. And, alright, cool. We just killed the AD carry because welcome to playing AD carry in this season. Sword is here. One shots exit the. Thanks as AD carry for chunking him so low. Get some shutdown onto the Xin, but I think all in all, you're still pretty happy about that if you're the side of Winthrop. Still 9-2 in this situation. And Denethor, I mean, just showing complete expertise on this champion. There's a reason why this champion was banned so often and why he was able to play it when he did. He is just so good. He has so many games on it. Fool's taking a little bit of damage, but I mean, yeah, Sleepy Trouble Bubble seems pretty difficult here. First Dragon going over. We'll see what Reluminate can do in terms of getting gold. Sword doesn't have flash, so this should be a kill. You see how they're immediately committing onto this mid play. All right, they trade 1-for-1 at the very least, but Chookies is here and Shimmer should be going down. This is a level 6 Jax here. Okay, Jax should be out. Gets shielding from this Emilio. Good super mega fire kick to stop the root coming in from Kafu. But already they have priority from bottom lane, so why not? Why shouldn't we do this? This is just another solo kill right here. Crusoe has no flash. GP's gonna go down yet again. Karma is getting solo owned. And I love that we're seeing such flexible play coming out from Winthrop. I mean, their bottom lane is moving. You typically want to see Lucian Melio stick together, but especially if you're just going to have a melee carry like this Jax, why not? No one's even covering for this gank, by the way. Crucial has no ultimate. Shimmer is saying, I need to hit level 6. I'm falling behind so far. And Exithy, they don't even need the gank. They don't need the full pressure of it. They don't need Trickster to try to grab the gold. He's just there. He's just there to pressure. They hold the wave. They grab the kill. Exithy is 0-4. Their bottom lane is 0-6 total. It is 14-3. We're only 19 minutes into the game. I mean, Winthrop are really pushing the pressure and the tempo of this game. They are not letting Reluminate and this team kind of take a second. They can say, okay, look, we can scale. We're allowed to hit our item breakpoints. We're allowed to kind of farm up. Every single wave is getting pushed in. Sword already has the Luden's companions ready. You already see main items, you know, those first legendaries start to come in and really make a difference for most of these players. So interested to see. Chookies already has the Moonstone, and I was going to ask how close we are to getting our World Atlas, because if they can get the Dream Maker already up and available, then this is going to be incredibly problematic for them, as, I mean, Sword just constantly getting pressure in the mid lane kind of allows for Trickster and just the rest of Winthrop to do whatever they want. And this is one of the fun things of playing jungle on a team that's winning on every single lane. You kind of just get to be wherever you like. You don't have to really listen to anybody. You don't have to say, okay, I'm just gonna full clear. I can't cross the river line. That's just not the case, especially when you're this far ahead, and especially with the changes to terrain on this patch. You get to move wherever you like. Mid lane has such easier ways of entering the jungle thanks to some of the new paths around the lane. So it's going to be a Void Grubs going over to the side of Winthrop, and now they're trying to make a play. Reluminate now on the bottom side. Kafu, not level 6 quite yet, but hey, you're a Karma. Ults from Exithy missing. Flash coming in from ability. They're trying to find this Q3. Teleports in behind them. Void Grubs are finished on the opposite side, and the TPs are finished. It's just going to be Sword here. They go for Exithy first. He's getting every single summoner spell, and Fools has now arrived to try to make up for this play. So it's 2 for 2. The top lane of Reluminate completely collapsing as Denethor becomes 5-0, and now on the opposite side, the bottom lane here for Winthrop making it back into the lane. They're going to try to get as many turret plates as possible for some of their more lacking members. Specifically, Fools in this instance will be the beneficiary of this play. But still, it's a gold lead for Winthrop. I think in advantage for them as well. Denethor is not going to get any weaker in this instance. And if they already are having problems killing the squishy members of a Lucian, of Trickster on this Jax, then they're going to have considerable problems playing up against Denethor. All of this physical damage, all of this armor is just going to be neglected as you're going to see them continue to walk up, mobility, going in and trying to find full burst combos. And now, look at their allocations. Xyz went mid lane to try to catch this, took a recall here. Fools is now going to teleport mid lane, so they're not going to miss out on too much, but I think the biggest losers out of this play are going to be Xyz and Kafu. Trying to stop Trickster from stealing this Grom is kind of like, hey, what are we going to be able to do here? They get a lot of ultimates down, so they finally find Chookies. They should be able to find mobility in this instance. They have vision, they're collapsing. Who do they give this kill to? Oh my god, Fools gets it at the very last moment. Huge win for them in this moment, as not only is it 2 kills for them, it's time off of our turrets that are going to be spent. There was a full mid wave that was lost, but there's also a dragon here, which they are desperately going to need to contend for. But you already see Winthrop starting to move on over. They do have a couple of ultimates that are still available to them. Mobility is not in the area. Denethor is teleporting behind them. Not a lot of flashes up and available. Fool's not in a position to deal damage yet. Chains of Corruptions go forward, but I mean, none of these Blight stacks are being procced. So first, it's Kafu to fall. Next, Trickster is able to take down Shimmer. And this turret is just paper mache to the opponents of Winthrop. They do not care that they're diving under. Trickster's getting a triple kill. And in front of Crusoe, just gonna absolutely embarrass him at this moment. It is an almost full ace at this point. 21-8, almost 10,000 gold here. They're gonna grab their second turret as well. The dragon not gonna be the true objective in this moment, simply a platform for which Winthrop could use to advance more of their gold leads. 7-1 on this Jack's jungle. I mean, Trickster is really putting up against one of the more exciting jungle prospects of the tournament. A lot of eyes were on Shimmer coming in saying, hey, this guy doesn't deserve to be 18th seed. They deserve to be a little bit higher up. But Trickster, a player who has been dominating Amateur for so long, has been playing in Tier 3, got a little bit of time up above, but really hasn't been able to make that mark. And I think has been so dominant, has been like a top 2, top 3 jungler in Amateur as well as Collegiate. So really excited to see what he can do here, as already kind of putting a lot more of that dominance that we saw at the end of 2023 for Winthrop. They just invade, walk in with your support, walk in, take some kills, take some jungle camps. Up 30, which is about 5 camps, and I mean, he is level 10 right now. He's getting really close to being level 11, which, I mean, he's going to start outranking his solo laners, and I mean, his opponents already can't hit the 1v1. So what a moment do we ever actually hit the 2v2 here. I wonder if the overlay does actually show how many Void Grubs there are that have been taken. So they're starting to get Void Mites, which tells me at least 3. I don't know if Trickster finished all of the first rotation of Void Grubs. Considering that they're spawning in Void Mites, I would assume at least 4. We never really got to see Shimmer take any of the Void Grubs on the opposite side, so could be just memory diff. I'm sure somebody in the comments will tell us whether or not that was just a memory diff and I'm getting gapped. But this is a pretty dominant game, and I don't expect us to be going on for much longer. It is 15 minutes. Winthrop were having a little bit of, you know, they did have a bit of some longer games. They find Sword, which is a shutdown, 600 gold going over to Fools. I think one of the few players having an okay performance. I think Shimmer's also recovering quite nice, but still's pretty far behind as it is. And they're going to need every single bit that they can get, right? If you're Reluminate, you're taking every pick. You're going to have to get a little bit bloody. You're never going to be able to go for clean 50-50s. You're going to have to go for pretty dangerous plays that are in the favor of your opponents, but help you get back into the game. Second Dragon at 16 minutes here. Going to be the Mountain Drake. I was kind of interested to see Winthrop take so long on a lot of these dragons. Just for the matter that... you know, they have been so far in the lead, and they've really focused on making sure that they are being more lane dominant and taking care of these turrets, rather than saying, hey, like, if we push them in and we ace them, we get a turret and probably still get the dragon at the same time. Whereas for Reluminate, it's very dangerous for them to commit to doing the dragon, because Lucian, or the entirety of Winthrop, and specifically into this Lucian and this Jax, will call their bluff and go and start hitting turrets, and they will start losing the game, and the entire rift will explode around them. So some funny stuff that was said. This is some of the stuff that we kind of lose thanks to the nature of a broadcast like this. Crucial was asking beforehand, would it be illegal if LS helps me draft? LS pointed out to him that's probably against the rules to help him draft, but I think it was funny nonetheless that they thought to, you know, ask. And Crucial has been pretty respectful of a lot of the tournament, right, in terms of rules, which you could say for a lot of players, but I think it's just interesting, especially when I think some members of the community don't have the highest opinion of Crucial just from solo queue. And so for someone who doesn't partake in the solo queue environment at high elo, I think it's always interesting to see the difference, how they interact with tournament organizers compared to other players, just in general. So very, very fun. We're just watching more of this game play out. I don't think there's much more to talk about. We have Dragon 3.5 minutes, Baron in 2. We should expect for Winthrop to be trying to utilize these objectives, not necessarily as, hey, we're going to take these objectives and then push, but more as staging grounds to say, you're going to have to walk up to us. You're already super far behind. If you don't move, you're going to just lose the game. And I think that's perfectly fine. Crucial walking forward, trying to use that GP ultimate to go in. I don't know about this engage. I think this is a lot from Winthrop in terms of just trying to posture and not really getting all that much. They got the GP ult. I think at that moment, you call it quits and you move on out. You already used the Rift Tail to really deal a lot of damage. And this is probably a moment in the game where Winthrop are so far ahead that they don't really know what to do. Not that they don't know what to do. I guess I should be more clear that they are maybe a little confused as to which lanes they need to prioritize right now. A lot of this focus onto the top side so they can make sure that vision is placed, but all right, well, getting some TPs in here. They really want to push out this bottom wave, and I think if you're being smart, the play here, again, 2 minutes before the Dragon, a minute before that Baron, you are going to be pushing out your mid and bottom lane waves. You can always catch top wave if you're going to be playing for Baron. Just send someone over there, they can immediately make it back. And so just push out these 2 waves, control the entire bottom side jungle so they can't actually push out, and you can just easily move all of this forward. So Denethor utilizing his flash, making it so that Fools doesn't have flash. Little less meaningful as Karki is a champion that just has a natural dash available to them. And they take this so fast that, again, with Void Mites, with all of this available to them, they're going to be able to take out all of the outer turrets. So, a 10,000 gold lead here for Winthrop at the 19-minute mark. And taking the rest of this jungle, they have a couple of options. Baron is spawning, and it looks like they are really trying to commit towards this top side. You see pings coming out. They just want to try to get that final turret, spend some gold before this last fight. This is going to be probably the strongest we'll see Reluminate for the time being. I don't think they'll have a lot of time to really farm. If the enemy team gets Baron uncontested, then you're really going to be up, up a creek without a paddle. And if you are, not contesting for this next Dragon, which I assume is not going to be all that important as it is a cloud and really you're still pretty far away from a soul, especially if Baron's up. That's like the only saving grace here for Reluminate is maybe we see them. Crucial just in a really weird spot right now. Trickster moving forward. We're seeing a couple of those flashes being used. Shimmer with the Crescent Guard sweeps away a lot of the opponents, but isn't able to do all that much. Great flash coming out from Trickster, and a knockup from Shimmer stops Trickster from being able to jump onto their AD carry, but they just kind of don't care at all. Fools still has the package, but it is 5 members of Winthrop that are barreling down through the top side. They don't even need the Baron in this instance. Opening up the inhibitor. They're going to try to go for the end. Fools now with this package splits open the fight, not able to kill all the minions in this instance. And this is a full-on ace. Winthrop, it's your 3rd seed. It's to be expected at this point. That greatness just follows them. And they don't have a wave quite ready to end. They're even getting the TP from Crucial. This should be a pretty bloody last few minutes of this game. Shimmer getting pushed away. Denethor trying to save his AD carry. And now let's see how many shutdowns the side of Reluminate can get. They did a lot of damage to the base, but Winthrop were unfortunately unable to end this game quite yet. Trickster waiting in the brush. Gets a massive counter strike down. Takes down Shimmer. Kafu should be next. Gets the smite. And now they're going to move. Are they going to try to end this game? Don't think so. I don't know if they necessarily have that much in the tank. It's just going to be a little bit more gold in the back pocket of Reluminate. And we still have a game on our hands. We still have them try to fight out towards the bitter end. Dragon is available. Baron is still available. I wonder what Winthrop are going to be able to pick, because they are in the driver's seat for this instance. They are the ones that are going to be making the decisions for Reluminate, and it's all about how they respond, how they are able to counterpunch in this instance. Let's take a look at those items, because they did get a lot of shutdowns. A lot of that gold did go onto Crucial. If you can maybe get this third item, maybe we see some glimmers here. It is a level 13 GP, still going to be very dangerous for some of the squishy members to deal with, like a Zoe, like a Lucian. They're starting up this Baron. They don't have vision of it quite yet. I assume that Reluminate can feel, okay, the Baron's probably being started, but there's really nothing we can do. They're going to start to walk in, but at this point, it's just too late. This tanky Baron, it's the hunting Baron. It's the Baron that we all know and love. And it's going to go down. So, Baron now in the back pockets. Reluminate are going to have to push these waves out as far as possible to drag out the Baron buff. There's also a Dragon that they can take. If they really don't think that they can siege, which... spoiler alert, they can. They should just be looking to end this game. Denethor's even bringing in a bot wave to make sure that, hey, if they clear this, that's a GP ultimate. But GP just took half of his HP from very little poke. So they're able to clear that wave. But again, still have a bot wave that they can escort. They have a mid wave that's going to be coming in. Even if they want to, I think they should just abandon this mid wave and should be looking to try to pile in on top side. You have super minions in this wave. And I think by not using this, you're kind of giving a lot of time for Reluminate. It seems like now Fools is going to be the one to pick this up. Remember, no package available for them. Yeah, just GP. It's so hard to get these barrels down. Crucial goes down immediately. Good combo from Mobility. Sword's also poking in. They're getting the mid inhibitor thanks to the the jungle and top lane for Winthrop. Inhibitor lanes now coming in. Those super minions are going to pour in from top lane as well. And it took a little bit, right? We got there eventually. There was a couple of minutes there where there were some question mark pings. They got some shutdowns, but that should just be the end of it. Baron empowered Void Mites. Those little guys are just jumping into the Nexus. And it's one last team fight. But it was just all Winthrop the entire game. Getting some extra kills, padding the KDA at the very end. 31-12. Winthrop just dropped an absolute masterclass on Reluminate. The 18th seed getting humbled in this instance, but we said from the beginning of the game that they had a lot to lose in this instance from the side of Winthrop, and they just didn't. They just decided not to lose. They just win forehead. Reluminate should keep their heads up high. I think that there were some interesting moments there. And again, it was the first seed. It is the seed that we expect to make it out 5-0. And Reluminate have showed a lot of promise against teams that are just below that bracket at the 4th seed, specifically against Ole Miss yesterday. So exciting stuff to watch. Thank you. That has been the 3rd round, and we'll be back with the 4th round very shortly.